NFL icon Shannon Sharpe's brutal call-out. Why the Saints and Steelers may have missed the Shedeur Sanders moment. Introduction. A storm brews in the NFL. Every NFL offseason delivers its share of drama, but few storylines have exploded with such force as the conversation swirling around Shedeur Sanders, the Cleveland Browns' unexpected draft pick and son of the legendary Deion coach Prime Sanders. On the surface, the 2025 draft looked like business as usual, teams scrambling to fill glaring roster holes, analysts debating O-line versus skill position needs, and fans arguing over who should have gone where. But then a bombshell dropped. Hall of Famer Shannon Sharpe, never one to mince words, took to the stage on his podcast Nightcap with Bengals icon Chad Ocho Johnson, and torched two of the NFL's proudest franchises, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New Orleans Saints. His criticism was sharp, uncompromising, and above all, rooted in one question. Backhand index pointing right, why didn't these teams take Shedeur Sanders? The fallout from his remarks has sparked league-wide debates, raised suspicions about collusion, and exposed the harsh realities of how business and politics intersect with talent evaluation in professional football. This is the full story, a deep dive into Sharpe's criticism, the Saints' puzzling draft strategy, the Steelers' aging quarterback gamble, the shocking collusion allegations from Eric Dickerson, and what it all means for Shedeur Sanders and the NFL's future. Shannon Sharpe and Ocho Johnson. The gloves come off. When Hall of Famers speak, people listen. But when Shannon Sharpe speaks, people debate. On Nightcap, Sharpe and Ocho lit up a conversation that many analysts had been tiptoeing around since draft night. Sharpe opened fire. He was a top 3 pick in the first round. We all knew that. If you watch the game of football, if you look at the quarterbacks that went before Shedeur, hello. The only one who's looked decent this preseason plays in New York. Outside of that, the Saints still don't have a quarterback. The Steelers still don't have a quarterback. It wasn't a casual observation. It was a targeted critique of two franchises who, according to Sharpe, passed on their chance to secure long-term stability at the most important position in football. The Saints' gamble. Protect now, solve later? The New Orleans Saints had the 9th overall pick in the 2025 draft. Fans expected fireworks. Instead, the Saints went conservative, selecting offensive tackle Kelvin Banks Jr. to anchor their line. It was a safe pick, solid, even smart. But it wasn't a quarterback. At number 40 in the second round, they doubled back and took quarterback Tyler Shaw, a developmental player, a maybe someday guy. For Sharpe, this was nothing short of malpractice. Why? Because the Saints' quarterback room was in chaos. Derek Carr had already exited, his 2024 season producing 2,145 yards, 15 touchdowns, and 5 picks in just 10 games before injuries derailed him. Durable? No. Elite? Not anymore. And Shaw? Project, not a solution. Sharpe's jab that the Saints still don't have a QB wasn't just cruel. It was true. The Steelers' high-risk gamble. The Rodgers question. If the Saints' mistake was ignoring the present, the Steelers' blunder was ignoring the future. Pittsburgh signed Aaron Rodgers in June to a 1-year deal. The move electrified fans desperate for stability after years of uncertainty post Ben Roethlisberger. Rodgers' arrival promised one more shot at glory. But Rodgers was 41 years old, and he himself admitted 2025 might be his last ride. Sharpe didn't question Rodgers' greatness. He questioned the long-term strategy. By passing on Shedeur Sanders, Pittsburgh essentially punted on the quarterback of the future. Instead of grooming a successor, they doubled down on nostalgia. For a franchise that prides itself on stability, this was a puzzling choice. The bombshell? Eric Dickerson's collusion allegation. Just as fans were dissecting Sharpe's comments, another Hall of Famer dropped a nuclear headline. Eric Dickerson, legendary running back, claimed he had heard directly from an NFL insider that teams were told not to draft Shedeur Sanders. The NFL told teams, "Do not draft him. We're going to make an example out of him." Sharpe later confirmed after checking with his own sources. This wasn't just speculation. It was an accusation of collusion, an orchestrated effort by the league to suppress Sanders' draft stock. And the evidence? Sanders, once projected as a top 3 pick, inexplicably slid all the way to the 144th overall pick, where the Cleveland Browns reluctantly drafted him. Reports suggest even Cleveland hadn't planned to take him, but were forced into it. Shedeur Sanders. Talent meets politics. Shedeur Sanders is no ordinary rookie. As the son of Deion Sanders, he has lived in the spotlight his entire career. His on-field talent is undeniable. Elite accuracy, poise under pressure, and a flair for the big moment. But his off-field presence, his confidence, and his celebrity status have made him a polarizing figure. Critics argue he leans too heavily into the primetime brand. Supporters counter that his charisma is part of what makes him marketable and resilient. But if the NFL truly warned teams away from drafting him, it suggests something bigger. It suggests the league wasn't judging Sanders on his arm, but on his image. Parallels to Michael Sam. The business of the NFL. Sharp himself drew a direct comparison to Michael Sam, the Missouri defensive end who became the first openly gay player drafted in the NFL in 2014. Sam's slide down the draft board was widely attributed to his sexuality. Sharp pointed out that while the surface-level narratives change, the bottom line doesn't. The NFL is a business. Can you do whatever your position is? If you're a quarterback, can you throw? If you're a DB, can you break on the ball? I don't care about all that other stuff. In other words, talent should outweigh distractions. But does it? The Browns, drafting Shedeur under pressure. The Browns were never supposed to be part of this story. They already had a crowded quarterback room. Veterans, rookies, and developmental players all jostling for attention. Yet somehow Sanders landed in Cleveland. Reports suggest the Browns were forced into drafting him. Whether by league pressure, internal politics, or simple fear of PR fallout, the Browns became the unlikely stage for Shedeur Sanders' NFL debut. This sets up an incredible subplot. Will Sanders prove every doubter wrong and show he was indeed worthy of a top 3 pick? Or will the collusion rumors overshadow his rookie season? The Saints and Steelers, missed opportunities or smart restraint? To be fair, both franchises had reasons for their decisions. The Saints wanted to rebuild their offensive line, a smart move for a team that has been battered in the trenches. The Steelers wanted one last shot at a Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers, a gamble that could still pay off. But Sharp's criticism isn't about justification. It's about vision. In his eyes, both teams had a chance to secure the future, and they passed. The larger question, NFL politics versus pure football. The Shedeur Sanders saga has ignited a debate that goes far beyond one player or two franchises. It asks, does the NFL punish players for being too outspoken, too flashy, or too connected? Do politics and image weigh more than talent and production? And if collusion did occur, what does that say about the league's commitment to fairness? The NFL markets itself as football above all, but this saga suggests something different. Sometimes, football is just one piece of the puzzle. Conclusion. The story is just beginning. Shannon Sharp's criticism of the Steelers and Saints wasn't just hot take theater. It was a mirror held up to the NFL itself. Two proud franchises may have missed their chance to draft a quarterback with franchise-altering potential. A young star's reputation may have been tarnished not by his play, but by whispers in boardrooms. And the league, once again, finds itself caught between football and politics. For Shedeur Sanders, the journey is only beginning. Whether he silences critics in Cleveland or flames out under the weight of conspiracy, one thing is clear. His story has already reshaped how we think about the NFL draft. The Saints and Steelers may or may not regret passing on him. But thanks to Shannon Sharp, Eric Dickerson, and the swirling allegations of collusion, the question will haunt them for years to come. Backhand index pointing right, what if they had drafted Shedeur Sanders?